The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Morning Market Kickoff with your host, Tommy O'Brien. Now, Tommy O'Brien.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I'm Tommy O'Brien, coming to you live from TFNN just after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. We got about 24 minutes to go until the start of trading, and we got markets in the green. We're right back up to yesterday's highs right now. S&P's up by 21 points, trading at 67.76. That's 0.3% in the green. NASDAQ 100 up by 0.3% as well. Coming right up to that acceleration we got last night on that NVIDIA news. They're going to have $1 trillion of business with their chips by the end of next year. $1 trillion. Dow up by 0.4%, 47,469. Again, coming right up. This is going to be an important technical area on the open right now. And you got the Russell up by 8 points or 0.3%. Bitcoin, we hit 76,000 overnight. How's that one? Quite an acceleration. We give back most of those gains. We're down by $200 on the session, just under 74,000 on Bitcoin. Ethereum, 23.24 right now. We hit 23.90 overnight. We jumped to crude. Maybe the most important action we have going on in terms of the market, yields, the dollar, crude right now. You hit lows of about $93 yesterday. You see, it was almost a triple low, right? 10 a.m., about 2 p.m., and then towards the close of action, 93. Make it all the way up to 98.50 overnight. We're back. We're below that acceleration. Crude up $1.41, 94.92. So we'll call it right at about $95 for a barrel of crude. We jump over to yields right now. Now, the Fed begins their meeting today. We get the decision tomorrow. All but certain they are not going to cut. They're not going to hike. We'll see if they talk about the possibility that they could hike. Remember the last meeting, there were some members that had talked about the dual risks, right? Whether it was the ability for them to cut or potentially there might be risks out there that they may need to hike. We'll see if they have anything to say in the statement. But in terms of their decision, all but certain that they will not be cutting. But we get a Fed decision tomorrow. Right now, you get the 10-year yield. We got a little bit of higher price, lower yield continuing. Now, talk about a move, man. This bond market, folks, we're up 20 ticks from where we were on Friday. You get the 10-year yield at 4.2. Okay, 4.2, the yield on the 10-year. We were approaching 4.3 at one point. You jump over the dollar, and yeah, the dollar's backing off. You got you have lower yield, dollar weakness, 99.63 in that dollar. We jump over to metals. Getting helped out a bit, but pretty remarkable, whether it was the strengthening or the weakening of the dollar. You got gold just chopping around near 5,000 right now. You got a weaker dollar, but you got gold up by $16 at 5,018 bucks an ounce. Silver up 5 pennies at $80.73. We jump over to platinum, up $27 at $21.22, and copper catches a bid to $5.85 yesterday. We're at $5.78. Just checking on those copper stocks. I keep watching these, man. They look like they had some real strength. They were higher yesterday. You got Freeport going to be slightly in the green this morning. And Southern Copper with a bid ask around where it closed yesterday, 173. All right, we jump over to NVIDIA shares. So, yeah, how's that for some volatility yesterday? NVIDIA's got their conference going on. I believe it's their developers conference going on. And their CEO, Jensen Huang, steps up there and says, we're going to have $1 trillion backlog. And you talk about a give up, right? You hit 189, and just like that, you were trading at a low of 181.41 the heartbeat. We're right back to where we were coming into that news almost. 184.78 NVIDIA in the green by about $1. All right, keeping your eye on crude. Let's take a look at the volume in this crude market. And yeah, the volume's been dropping off a bit. We traded lower yesterday. You do 426,000 contracts. On par with what we did on Friday, which is about 406,000. But those two were the lightest volume days since this war began. So maybe things calming down a bit when you look at the volatility we got. And remember, it started over the weekend from February to March. So the war begins here. We had crude coming into that war at about $67. This is a daily chart we're looking at. That was the end of February. And so things might be calming down a bit. We'll see, though. You know, you wake up in the morning and I see some of these headlines, man. And whether it's an Iranian official, okay, talking about their security chief was killed in airstrikes. I mean, you pull it over. This is the one talking about it. There's the gentleman right there. Here's the front page of the Wall Street Journal. All right. And yeah, you talk about the ability to ratchet things up. So he's the central figure in Tehran's aggressive military response. And that is the most important figure since the supreme leader. But nonetheless, we have crude abating a bit with the prices of under $94 right now. And then you have Iranian drones and missile attacks. You know, this is 33 minutes ago, man. Qatar, the UAE intercepting those drones. It's a constant stream, unfortunately, of headlines right now. And then, yeah, you have Israel military issuing the widest evacuation orders in southern Lebanon in the last 20 years. Remaining south of the Zerani River could endanger your life and the lives of your families. They're saying to get out. And then you got tankers, of course, right? All right, we'll see where we go. Let's take a look at the volume in these indices. We'll kick it off with the S&Ps. So that was quite a day yesterday with some volume. You look at the volume, not quite what we had at the lows, but it was a strong day of buying, man. S&Ps, you did 2.1 million contracts. Just look at this chart. One of the highest volume days we've had in the last few months. Take a look at the NASDAQ 100, not quite as pronounced. All right, the NASDAQ was weak on that bounce. Look at that difference between the S&P futures and the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, that was one of the lightest volume days we've done so far this year. Versus the S&Ps, you had a lot of strength in there. And on the day when you had NVIDIA talking about $1 trillion in backlogs, and the NASDAQ is the one that has the least amount of volume to the upside. And then you look at the Dow, which had a lot of strength. Right? Look at the bounce in the Dow. Well above what you did on Friday. The Dow bounces on 157,000 contracts. We take a look at the Russell. How about that bounce on the Russell? And the Russell, always very yield dependent. Okay, a lot of these smaller companies, they have exposure to yields, that their debt is on a shorter term basis, so they have to roll over that debt on a more often basis, so they are more exposed to yields. So when you have yields that are spiking, right, you get this rip-roaring pullback in the price of the Russell. In the same way, when yields abate, you have a bit of a reprieve. And the Russell, the strongest one yesterday with all that volume. We take a look at the weekly. And yeah, we got a problem in the Russell, but guess what? That had to do with yields. All right, you see a reversal in yields, watch the Russell for sure. The Dow, yeah, check out this volume. Now, it's only Tuesday. That was a big volume day yesterday. We'll see what we carry through today. You take a look at the S&Ps. You actually ramped up with volume in the S&Ps last week. And then the NASDAQ, not quite as pronounced. But this is going to be an important week. We got some important technical areas right now. And on the upside, you know, we talked about it yesterday, folks. There's a lot of technical areas in this market where the market's behaving very technically. And we're right at the top of resistance yesterday. We're coming right back, folks.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento. A pro's pro with over 50 years of experience, Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible to most people. They think it's too volatile and risky. Most people aren't going to take the time to educate themselves on how to do it right. But you're not most people, are you? At TFNN, you'll get the guidance you need to refine your strategies and techniques to invest like a pro. Because you'll be a pro. All TFNN subscriptions, books, software, and courses are available at TFNN.com. And I'm even going to tell you how to get them for less. Use TFNN's Tiger Dollars and you'll get up to a 20% bonus on your purchase. And once you apply them to your account, Tiger Dollars are automatically used for all future or recurring charges. Tiger Dollars also never expire, are fully transferable, and are a great way to add savings to your newsletters or services. Become the investor you were born to be at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This portion of the Morning Market Kickoff is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, folks. We get the NASDAQ 100 up by 0.4%. And yeah, we'll see if we can blow right past this acceleration last night. And that was the acceleration on NVIDIA. You jump over to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA's not quite up there. Imagine that's when the market spiked to that level, and you had NVIDIA almost $3.50 higher. That's almost $100 billion in market cap, 25 billion shares for this equity. You're trading though right now, yeah, this market accelerating higher, but as I said, going to be an important technical area as we are right at where we were last night, and that was quite a sell-off, folks. If you were watching that market, man, I was talking to Steve Rhodes yesterday afternoon. He came on the air, said, what's going on with this market, man? And then boom, the selling came back in. Especially in the NASDAQ. Looking at this, check it out, right? On a 5-minute basis, the news hit on NVIDIA, and you traded up on about 4,400 contracts, and then you ripped lower on 8,000 contracts on a 5-minute basis. So there was some selling at these levels. We'll see if they're selling at these levels again when the market opens in about 10 minutes from right now. All right. Speaking of crude, the airlines, well, they like their guidance. We'll see. They're going to have demand. We'll see if they can get it done at an affordable price. Delta American raised revenue guidance, citing growth in demand. Strength across the main cabin, premium, loyalty, and more is what Delta says. But both Delta and American raised their guidance for the first quarter on Tuesday ahead of a JP Morgan conference. The higher revenue is offsetting the cost of not just the fuel, but we've also had a pretty tough winter season in terms of storms. So you put that together, we're expecting to come in with the original guidance of 50 to 90 cents a share. They had previously forecasted an increase in sales of as much as 7% in the first 3 months, and those adjusted earnings. An American says they're looking for revenue to increase by more than 10%. Now, the previous was 7 to 10%, stronger than expected demand. So even with higher costs, people are willing to pay it. Look at this. So Delta's revenue comes from higher spending customers who still want to travel, as well as from corporate customers. We've seen 8 of the top 10 sales days in our history this quarter. 5 of those within just the last 2 weeks, within just the last week of March. Even with the war going on, our revenues, our bookings are up 25% year over year. That's a number, man. Delta up to $63 from about $61 yesterday on those comments. You have a high out here of $76 coming into this year. Some nice strength at the lows there on Delta. When you're looking at the daily, March 9th, take a look at the weekly on this thing. Same deal. That's how you want to have a sign of strength. That's not catching a falling knife, folks. You know, you're looking for a buy on Delta, right? You're back to this nice consolidation you were at from August all the way through November, almost 3 to 4 months. You come back. You trade higher with volume, okay? And yeah, it would have been nice to see a little bit more strength, as in you were actually a little bit lower. You closed lower by about 20 pennies from the prior week. But that's what you want to see coming into an equity, potentially building a floor. Now, the other side of that is when you have a sign like that, at least you know your thesis, right? You know your trade. Your trade is this is your support. Well, you go below here, put a stop in it, folks. And today you're up by $3. American, not the same deal. You see how it ramps up, and that was definitely a trade lower from American. Delta looking stronger than American, and this morning they're looking stronger as well. As in, you catch a bid, you're up by 50 cents to $10.95 for American. You jump over to United. Yeah, stronger demand. The airlines are going to like that. United up by almost $3. And it even translates to JetBlue. Look at this thing, man. No sign of strength just yet. Let's put this thing on a weekly. Yeah, just don't like that bar the same way. But the airlines, people are buying tickets. And that's going to allow them to absorb the cost of higher crude. And if you didn't catch it yesterday afternoon, there was the headline that hit at about 3:15 p.m. yesterday. So this is at NVIDIA's annual developer conference, and he says that this is the CEO, Jensen Huang, $1 trillion in orders for Blackwell and Vera Rubin through next year. Now, previously, they had been expecting this year to exceed what was included in the projections last year for a $500 billion revenue opportunity between the two. Now, what I was saying yesterday, right, is, okay, they're going to have $1 trillion in orders for those two systems through next year, but the company had already been expecting this year to exceed the projection of $500 billion in revenue. So is $1 trillion a lot? If last year the company had projections for $500 billion, but when was that time frame for, right? Chipmaker NVIDIA said in February that year-over-year revenue this quarter, $78 billion. 11 straight quarters of revenue growth above 55%. How about that? Vera Rubin comes out later this year. 1.3 million components. 10 times more performance per watt. It's all going to be about energy. And also yesterday, the CEO unveiled the NVIDIA Grok 3 Language Processing Unit, or LPU, the first chip from the startup that's mostly acquired through a $20 billion asset purchase in December, and they're going to ship that in the third quarter. And that was founded by the creators of Google's in-house Tensor Processing Unit, TPUs. But $1 trillion by next year. But guess what, folks? Now, this company's got remarkable margins, okay? But what you do want to consider is they've got to grow into their valuation. And right now, their valuation is approaching $4.5 trillion. There it is, $4.5 trillion, okay? $4.497 trillion. 24.3 billion shares outstanding. And I say that as in, well, geez, they're trading at $4.5 trillion. They're going to take in $1 trillion in revenue by the end of next year. That's a lot of times revenue. When you're talking about the revenue you're going to take in over the next 2 years is only 20% of the entire value of the company. That's a lot of revenue, man. Even if you were taking all that revenue to the bottom line, right? You got to take in $5 trillion. But hey, it's all about the future. NVIDIA controls it. We're coming back for the opening bell, folks.
Your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We got an opening bell, and look at NVIDIA, man. Look at this market. NVIDIA just dumped $2. Yeah, look at this selling. NVIDIA right now goes back to flat after trading at almost 185.50 right now. You got the S&Ps right above the highs of yesterday. Now, we'll see where supply equals demand as we got an opening bell right now, but you got an S&P up by 32 points. And as you see, just over where we were on yesterday's highs. NASDAQ 100 right at that level as well, 25,003. We're up by about 0.5% the NASDAQ 100. The Dow right now up 372 or 0.8%. You get the Russell up by 0.7%, 2538. Check back in on crude. 94.78 right now for crude. We take a look at yields. Higher price, lower yield with the 10-year approaching 4.2. And keep your eye on that dollar, folks. 99.58. Some dollar weakness. Jump over the Qs, up by 0.4%. You get the NASDAQ chopping around right near 25,000 this morning. And you talk about some of the headlines out there this morning. Yeah, not exactly easing in Iran. New crackdowns on its people, and you better believe that's happening. It was already a problem with the demonstrations and protests prior to the war. But yeah, Iranian state security forces are using fear. Armed men riding around on motorcycles. 500 people have been arrested since the start of the war. Surprised it's even that low, if it is. And the headline says it all. Not hard to imagine what's going on over there right now. Now you talk about the tankers. All right, this one. How some ships are sneaking through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, this one's out last night on the Journal. Iran appears to be allowing select ships through. Okay, you had a Pakistani tanker, Karachi, sailed through with its location on. That was the first non-Iranian vessel to have done so. A lot of those tankers, if they're going through, are turning off those trackers. And you take a look at transits by oil and gas tankers on the Strait of Hormuz by the type of fleet, and you're talking about a compliant or shadow, and it's just nothing. Nothing's getting through right now at all. Not to a degree that's going to impact the oil market. 17 oil-bearing tankers have sailed through the strait from the second day of the war through Sunday. Seven of the 17 were Iranian. Just one was sailing toward Europe. Normally, you're talking about 125 ships a day. And imagine, we're 15 days into this war. 15 days into this war. It's like March 2nd we came back, right? That was the weekend. You multiply that times 15. What are we talking about? 1,800 ships they got to get through just to equal where we are? 3 tankers made the voyage over the weekend versus 40 over a normal 2-day period. So when you read things and you want to write, folks, one of the things growing up, it's like you want to be clear. And there's so many instances of great writers. They write for the Journal. All right, but read this paragraph right here. It's just worth noting. They talk about how, on average, 125 are what goes through the strait every day. And then they say 3 tankers went through over the weekend. And then they say versus 40 over a normal 2-day period. But they just said 125 go through to a day. Which one is it? Is it 40 over a normal 2-day period? Is that a normal 2-day weekend period? It's just sloppy writing. It's a financial show, but I read that stuff all the time. Great writers. You get a job at the Journal. You read a short paragraph like that, and it tells you in the same paragraph that 125 go through the strait every day, but 3 tankers went in over Saturday and Sunday versus 40 over a normal 2-day period. I don't think tankers take weekends off. Maybe they do. Maybe the Strait of Hormuz doesn't operate as well on the weekends. I feel like that's something that's operating 7 days a week. So, but it's a lot of ships, folks. All right, we get the market accelerating above the highs across the board right now. Let's take a look at this thing. On a daily, where are we coming into? Well, we're coming into right at the beginning of the war. There it is. There's March 2nd. All right, the lows of March 2nd, folks. 67.68. That was the Monday coming back from Lemoore, and that's what we're coming into right now, this 6,800 area. That was right near the lows of January, February 5th, February 17th, and where the war began. All right, jump over to the healthcare, the weight loss drugs, biotechs, Novo, up about 0.6%. Talking about this thing's just been getting pummeled, man. And Lilly, I think they catch a downgrade from HSBC today. Overhyped obesity drug market. You know, I don't know if it's overhyped. The competition is what's going to be fierce. But, you know, you look at Lilly on a volume basis. Look at how we're backing down on lighter volume, right? The week of March 2nd, 14.3 million shares. Last week, 10.2. We'll see what we do this week. All right. So I got to update that one. That was yesterday in the gold report. We're sitting right now at about 4.2%. Okay, higher price, lower yield, 4.2% coming into a Fed decision tomorrow. And you jump over to the home builders. So that's not what you like to see on a volume basis, folks. Lennar, we broke below this consolidation with volume technically. All right, you're going to have to break back above this area with some strength. Now we're up by 0.9% today. DR Horton up by about 0.4%, but same deal. You know, on a volume basis, okay, beginning of the year, that was a nice sign of strength. You had some nice sign of strength up here. You know, you look at DR Horton, you got volume on this move from January up to February, right? This collective volume, let's put it on a monthly. Yeah, you did back off a bit, but you had some nice volume in January. You backed off a bit in February. But that was some nice volume on the way up. And then what happened? You topped out, you pulled back on light volume, and it's been relatively light volume on this pullback. And you're right back into this support at about 140. You know, folks, you're looking for a trade out there, okay? And do your own diligence, all right? Go protect yourself out there if you're trading, man. This market is vicious, okay? Put stops in. It's your own money. No one's going to protect your money like yourself, folks. I say it all the time. You're the only one. All right, when you get those feelings that you got to protect your money, just do it, man. All right, you're the only one that's going to protect your own cash. You got a nice back against the wall trade here. Maybe you put your stop below last week. Maybe you put it below this week. Don't give it a lot. You know, if this is a turn on yields, okay, if we just topped out and you hit 4.3% on that 10-year, okay, and maybe that was peak worry about crude. Maybe now we're going to come into a new Fed chair, right? These are all theses and hypotheses you can have for trades. Well, the good thing about that is if that's the floor, if yields are going lower, if DR Horton found a bid, don't give it a lot, man. You got your back against the wall at about 140. But these things struggling with yields at 4.2. Markets in the green. We'll come right back, folks.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direction.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direction.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We get a nice little acceleration higher coming into the opening bell. NASDAQ 100 up by 0.7%, 25,063 on the futures. You get the S&Ps up by a similar 0.7%, back over 6,800, 6,801. The Dow up by 1% right now, 430 points in the green, 47,713, and the Russell up by 0.9%. Keeping our eye on yields, 4.2 on the 10-year. With a lower yield, you got dollar weakness, 99.57. And that's helping metals out a bit, but no huge move. We've had quite a move in that dollar. Gold up by $33, 5,035, and silver right now up by 78 pennies or 1%. Again, some of these headlines, all right? With Lebanon in the picture now, you got a new front, and anytime there's a new front, there's new risks, folks, even if they aren't front and center. You got a ground invasion in Lebanon. They put out the warning there to evacuate. And the defense minister saying that Lebanese residents will be unable to return to the area until Israel determines it has removed the threat posed by Hezbollah. It's very difficult goals, right? When does that become something that's achievable? And I hope it is. But to eliminate threats by Hezbollah in perpetuity, right? So we're coming right up to this area that we topped out on Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's back it up a little further. Doing hourly. Yeah, about 25,200 might be the next stop. If we catch a bid here in the NASDAQ 100, all right, that's going back to the acceleration we had on March 10th. That's back to where we were on March 4th. And that might be the next stop. You know, you do have highs out here from February above that area. But 25,200, a nice technical area. The other side of that is we're just above this area. And you know, for NVIDIA shares, that was quite a sell-off on the open, folks. I'm excited to see how this market reacts and how we're going to plow higher above these highs of yesterday when those highs were driven by NVIDIA. And they're not participating in the same way this morning. But guess what? That doesn't matter so far. All right, let's check out the oil stocks. Exxon up by 0.5% right now. Chevron up by 0.5% as well. Jump over to other equities with action today. Yeah, check it out. Uber. So Uber's up by 5%. They're going to launch robo-taxis powered by NVIDIA's self-driving software. How about that? To its ride-sharing platform beginning in 2027. And they're going to expand their fleet to 28 cities internationally by 2028. 2028. All right, look at this market. Yeah, we hit 25,200. That might be the next stop. This market is relentless right now to the upside. We got strength. Look at this weekly bar we got. It's only the beginning of Tuesday. In terms of price action, what I will say to you, though, the volatility in two directions I don't think is over just yet, folks. But the market's liking that crude one. The market's liking a bit of a crude reprieve right now at 94.19. You talk about AI. Where is ChatGPT going? Well, OpenAI says get rid of the side projects. We're going all in on coding and enterprise businesses. Seems like that's going to be the gravy for right now. Fiji Simo, maybe I'm pronouncing that correctly. That's OpenAI CEO of Applications right there. Previewed the changes to employees in an all-hands meeting, telling them the top leaders we're actively looking at which areas to deprioritize, and they're going to let you know in the coming weeks. We cannot miss this moment because we're distracted by side quests. They're looking for productivity in general, and on the business front, yeah, they got to start making some money, man, especially if they're going to go public. So last year had a do-everything approach, a lack of focus, maybe spread too thin. And yeah, they're under threat, man. I was a huge fan of those earlier, but now Gemini is incredible, and I really haven't played with Claude too much, and I plan on doing it. And yeah, there it is, right? Claude Code with more advanced version of its AI model last year, and they're leaping ChatGPT. I saw something yesterday online that had actually gotten to the point, right, that, and even if it's just a meme on the internet, that you tell somebody that you're using ChatGPT, and they call you a boomer that's out of touch because why aren't you using Claude? And, you know, it's a meme on the internet, folks. Okay, ChatGPT and OpenAI are the big dogs on the block still, even though Claude's catching up. But just the fact that that meme is around speaks to how fast the competitors have caught up with OpenAI. Check out Microsoft up by 1% right now. This NASDAQ, look at this move, man. Let's check out the daily. And yeah, looks like 25,200. If you're looking for an area for resistance to the upside, folks, that's the spot. You're going back to this huge acceleration where we hit 25,217. That was March 4th, a couple days after the war began. And this has been talked about before. The SEC prepares proposal to eliminate quarterly reporting requirements. And they're looking for only reporting every 6 months. You know, of course, it's a burden on these public companies. You know, every regulation is a burden, okay? Every reporting requirement. If quarterly is a burden and once every 6 months would be better, you can make the same argument about 6 months versus just once a year. But geez, equal dissemination of information, folks. That's the problem. It's not about how often you get it. It's going to be the fact. We'll talk about it. It's not going to be equal. The longer you go in between, people are going to know. We're coming right back.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We have the S&Ps up by 47, NASDAQ 100. You're up by 200 points or 0.8%. And yeah, taking a look at this. So you're going to see this coming, folks. It's coming. They're going to push this proposal for just semi-annual reporting of earnings versus quarterly. It's been done this way for 50 years. All right. Now, the context is they'd make it optional. And this has already taken place. Publicly listed European companies no longer required to report quarterly. After a 2013 rule change, the UK also ended that, though many companies still report quarterly. And hey, you know, we see this happen with Class A shares, right? Investor shares. It didn't used to be the case where you could own a company and have no voting rights because you're superseded by super shares that the investor, the founder had. And if people are going to buy your shares and you're not going to tell them the earnings more than once or twice a year, then more credit to you. What I worry about in this, okay, is that the equal dissemination of public information. And the longer you go in between those, okay, there's going to be the ability for people, whether it's novice investors, having less access to information because you're going 6 months in between a reporting period. And realistically, folks, one of the arguments they make in here, which I find false, okay, is that part of the reason why they say companies remain private, and of course it's true to a certain degree, is that it's so time-consuming and costly to go public and then have to abide by the rules of being a public company. Well, a big reason why they don't go public, folks, is because they won't go public when there's good money to be made. Okay? They go money when the good money to be made is done, and they're going to push it out to the public like OpenAI is about to coming into this year. And realistically, folks, the numbers that they're talking about, okay, go look it up in ChatGPT and ask ChatGPT, because I have, what it costs for a public company to run their numbers quarterly versus semi-annual. And it's not that much cash, folks, especially in terms of what they're dealing with. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in, spending your morning right here with me. Couldn't appreciate it more. I always say, folks, very fortunate to do what I do. Love my job. You all make it possible being out there. Have a great day, safe day. Stay tuned. Basil Chapman, he's coming up right now, folks. Have a great one.